My name's Connor Smith. I'm the CEO of First Call Computer Solutions. We are the proud preferred IT and cybersecurity of the Montana Credit Union Network. Jerry and Renell asked that we put together a short video presentation as credit unions, as you guys know, are in the throes of the recent CitrixBleed ransomware attack that has significantly impacted credit unions across the United States. This image is just a generic credit union. Chose this just to remind us all that this can happen to any credit union, large, small, mature, growing, doesn't matter. As leaders in the financial sector, your role is pivotal in maintaining the trust and security of your member assets. So, and again, this short webinar, we're going to delve into the background on the incident, understand ransomware, and the common methods of attacks, some best practices for ransomware protection, and then just talk about strategies for addressing the cybersecurity landscape. Looking at this today, the topic is both urgent and critical. We've witnessed the sophisticated ransomware attack known as CitrixBleed that has targeted credit unions across the U.S. The incident unfolded via vulnerabilities in IT systems that were provided by a third-party service called Ongoing Operations. This is used by numerous credit unions for cloud-based operations, and specifically the attackers exploited a security flaw in Citrix NetScaler, which is commonly, again, referred to as the CitrixBleed vulnerability. So what we know is on November 26th, Ongoing Operations experienced the cybersecurity incident. They did follow their incident response protocol, which included engaging third-party specialists to assist with determining the nature and scope of the event. They did notify federal law enforcement, and at this time, all we know is their investigation is currently ongoing, and they're going to provide updates as necessary. This is recorded as of December 5th, so if things change, obviously, this might be a little out of date. As part of their response to the incident, they're reviewing their data, what was impacted, what information was impacted, to whom that information belonged, and they've stated that this incident is really isolated to the Citrix segment of their network, and they're working around the clock basically to figure out what happened, minimize service interruptions, and working to ensure the safety of their systems and anybody else's that is affected. They have notified all the impacted customers, and so if you have not been notified, it didn't impact you. The forensic investigation of the incident is still ongoing and being performed by an independent third party. So those are the basic highlights of what we know is going on today. The breach not only caused outages and service interruptions for approximately 60 credit unions, but again, it's just the reminder that this stuff happens and that there's persistent and evolving threats in the landscape. This is definitely what would be referred to as a supply chain vulnerability. And so it's just, again, another reminder that cybersecurity is only as strong as the weakest link in our overall network. We're all interconnected. That's the nature of the internet. That's the nature of the services that we engage with today. So we've got to be engaged with our partners about stringent security measures. The NCUA has reassured members that deposits remain secure. A lot of other services are working within credit unions that have been affected, so people have been able to gain access to their deposits, ATMs, etc. Really what this is about is making sure that you're looking at this and dissecting your own credit union to become more resilient. So hopefully that's a good recap, helps everybody kind of understand what's going on. I have spoken in the past to credit union members about this cyber defense matrix. This is an important concept for every credit union manager, executive, director, to understand, not just IT people. On the left, we've got assets, devices, applications, networks, data, users. On the top, we've got the 5 functions of cybersecurity: identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. So when you look at this tool, it's really just a simple way to map out your current defenses and spot any gaps. I've also added a few features that I think are important, and a little flippant, but up top there's some arrows and a turd. In the military, they talk about left and right of boom. And what they mean is what happens before an attack and an explosion and what happens afterwards. With a cyber attack, there is no boom. There really is just that oh shit moment. The point here is it's important to think about left and right of the oh shit moment as you analyze your cybersecurity landscape. If you move your eyes to the bottom, you're also going to see that I've added a section called the degree of dependency. And what I want you to take away as a credit union executive is, where is the work on the scale? Mature processes at the bottom, that green bar, are needed across the functions. But when you look at identify, protect, and detect, it's really technology intensive. When you look at what happens after an incident, respond and recover, it's really incredibly people intensive, because you are spanning shareholders, the media, your employees, customers, their customers. Thousands of hours is going to go into this incident that we're dealing with CitrixBleed, and it's going to span months, if not years. So again, I hope that every credit union executive understands the basics of cyber defense and uses this matrix to help them understand where are we, where are our gaps, and where is our degree of dependencies. Okay, one of the things that the MCUN asked me to address is just ransomware protection best practices. So we could go on this question forever, but here's some example controls. Obviously, backup and disaster recovery plans. And the main thing here is credit unions cannot have assumptions about what it's going to take to recover a system. They've got to know it. Educate and train staff what to do, security awareness training, keep software up to date, implement access controls so that if you get breached, there's only so far they can go within the network before to avoid spreading of ransomware. Firewalls, email controls, vulnerability assessments, which I'll talk more about, cyber insurance. These are all controls that a credit union should have in place. This is not meant to be an exhaustive list. What I really want to talk about here is the stuff on the right, because I think it's much greater direction to executives. So one, you've got to be informed. You've got to keep up to date on the threats that are going on within the broader world of business, but also within credit unions specifically. You've got to get decision making at the right levels. There is strategic decision making, operational decision making, technical decision making. Does everybody understand the difference? Are people empowered to do things at the right levels and make decisions that will help keep you safe? Strategy. Where are we? Where are we headed? How will we get there? There has to be a cybersecurity strategy. There has to be someone that is championing that and driving that within the organization. Be practical. Cybersecurity is not a destination. It's an ongoing program where you are addressing gaps in a bite-sized approach. Where are they? What's the impact? How are we going to address them? It's also a team sport. You've got to have a champion. You've got to have technical people to do the work. You've got to have decision makers that are involved with the process. Establish your team, establish the roles, operate it like a team sport. And then prevention versus cure. Um, there's a lot of thinking in the world of cybersecurity that cybersecurity is too advanced, too technical, too complex. The reality is there's a lot of tools that you already own that just need to be successfully managed according to policies. So many of you already have the controls. You know, guys in my seat are oftentimes selling overly expensive, overly advanced cybersecurity. Um, the reality is there's a lot that you already own. You know, it's the old metaphor. If you've got a seatbelt, put it on before you start getting into all of the advanced other things that your car can do to keep you safe. Be boring. Um, the credit union industry has guiding lights. They have frameworks. You don't need to invent this. It's just what is the framework? Where are our gaps? What are we going to do to address them? It's pretty boring stuff, but ultimately, I would encourage you to be boring. Be prepared. Again, this is another example where this stuff happens, and you've got to have the controls in place, you've got to have the team in place, you got to have a plan, and you can't have assumptions. You got to test it. So hopefully that's helpful to you just in a simple executive level evaluation of where are we and how can we protect ourselves against not just ransomware, but all of these cybersecurity threats. You may have some questions coming out of this. I threw some on here. How can we work with our third-party vendors to improve their security? Are smaller credit unions at greater risk? Or if you're a larger credit union, you might be thinking, are we at greater risk? How can we remove assumptions about our backup and disaster recovery position? What can we do to be more prepared to respond to an incident like this? Ultimately, if you have those questions, we are here to help. Um, no cost. Just reach out to Meg Ross. I put her email in there. Schedule some time. We'll connect you with a qualified cybersecurity professional here at First Call that can help address, your questions directly. There are some links and resources that I want to make sure that you're aware of. Over on the left is the URL for ongoing operations incident status report. So you can go direct to their website. They've got a button that you can click that takes you direct to the latest, greatest information on the incident status. There's obviously the NCUA, which you're all linked into, MCUN, which you're linked into, the Financial Services Information Sharing and Analysis Center. So this is a membership that you can establish that will keep you up to date on stuff that is unique to your industry. CISA, this is the federal government's cybersecurity infrastructure security agency. There's lots of information, knowledge sharing, communications, news, etc., coming out of that. Obviously, stay tight with your peers. Encourage your IT people to have peer relationships with other IT people within the credit union association. Executives do the same, and then obviously, the industry news, that's coming out. So hopefully that's helpful. All right. When something like this happens, you want to know where your gaps are quickly. So First Call has put together an offer for the MCUN members. If you'd like to get a vulnerability assessment done, we can help you with that. It'll identify your technical vulnerabilities that could be exploited by these cyber criminals. We'll put this out as a one-time cost of $1,500. I do want to focus this on credit unions, which is the majority of you that have 100 computers or less. If there are larger entities that want to engage, just please reach out to us directly. We just need to do some additional scoping, and then we can get you a price. Our goal here is to turn these around quickly so that, again, you can um, better understand quickly where your vulnerabilities right now, anything that you need to address that could be exploited. All right, if you've got needs, questions, or struggles, we're here to help. We all have IT operations, IT departments, whether you outsource it or have it in-house or some hybrid version of that. You all have cybersecurity operations, and the outcomes for cybersecurity are different than your IT operations. The vulnerability assessment, if that's something that you've got interested in. So needs, questions, struggles on any of these fronts, we're always here to help. Easiest thing to do is contact Meg Ross. There's her email, get some time scheduled. Our website is there. And then again, I just want to close with this theme that we've had for several years now of SHIT when it comes to security operations. It's not too technical, it's not too complex, it's not too expensive. Security hardening isn't tough. It's those 4Bs that I talked about, and companies like First Call have the resources that you need, whether you've got an internal IT department or you outsource that, we can help. So please don't hesitate to reach out and let us know if there's other things that we can help the association with in response to this to keep people informed and educated. Thanks so much.